So, I want to talk about something, okay? I know us Eagles fans can get a little crazy. When things are too good to be true, we want more, and we want more, and we always ask for more, okay? I want to go over the youth movement of the Philadelphia Eagles and how lucky we are with what we have right now. Okay, I think we need to kind of get into this conversation because we could complain every single day. Obviously, as a content creator, we nitpick at every little thing because that's the job. That's just what it is. There's always something you could talk about every day when it comes to this roster. So I kind of want to go over that and kind of open some people's eyes a little bit. You know what I mean? And yeah, so let's get to it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So, a lot to talk about here regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. The youth movement, the golden age, the golden era. Okay, we are so lucky right now between what the Eagles have done. Okay, I have never seen so many young players that have really got through camp like this in a year like this, especially. You go through draft after draft after draft, and really before the last 3 years, involving this year as well, because we used to always make great trades. We always moved money around nicely so we can afford other players. We dipped into free agency for players that were great, players that were bad, just depending on, over the years. And what Howie Roseman has done the past 3 years, 3 off seasons, especially just from his side of things, always just not done with this roster, always making moves, always on the phones, always, if one player gets hurt, I'm going to give you 2 players, stuff like that. It's always been amazing to see the turnaround that Howie Roseman has had with this roster, going into the undrafted pool and getting guys that are contributing, even if they're backups, still, it's a great thing to see. Okay, you're going into the season with 2 brand new coordinators. Offensively, I don't really think of Brian Johnson as a brand new coordinator because he was next to Shane Steichen. He's been an offensive coordinator before. He works with the quarterbacks really well. And from preseason, what I've seen play call wise, I haven't really complained too much about it. With Sean Desai, but from Jonathan Gannon, how passive he was, giving us signs that he wasn't going to pan out at the end of the year. I don't care how many games we won or how many playoff games we won. When we were playing games last year and we were stepping on teams' necks where they can't breathe, and then we were just letting go off the foot just a little bit, giving some air, giving some life to another team that we're facing, and almost choking games at times. Okay, not choking every game, but at times you're letting teams breathe way too much in the second half of a lot of games last year. And then really find out all the news after the Super Bowl, and really that Super Bowl was kind of crazy in a lot of aspects, whether it's the outside news, the inside news of the Super Bowl, and obviously how we played the whole entire time. I'm proud of this team for where it's gotten to at this point, and with Gannon, what he did after last year as a new defensive coordinator going into Sean Desai now, obviously when we were playing an NFC Championship game to a Super Bowl, we were dealing with a coach that was not giving a crap about this team and was illegally tampering with the Arizona Cardinals. You have a coach in Sean Desai right now that has been a Vic Fangio apprentice for 3 to 4 years, 4 to 5 years, I could probably say, as a defensive quality control guy right under Vic Fangio. Became the Bears defensive coordinator in 2021. And for what he had on that roster, which was very little defensively, did a really good job. Okay, did a fantastic job. Okay, top 10, top 5, top 10 against the pass, top 5 in sacks, bottom 10 against the run because just from personnel, but always creates ways to get pressure on quarterbacks. He wants this defense to be feared. He wants this defense to be mean. He wants this defense to be violent. the culture and what we've been building here, I think is probably the most important thing, because Nick Sirianni created that. Then once, Jalen Hurts became the starting quarterback, it even got better after that. And then it really gravitated more players to play with Hurts offensively. Or there are guys on defense that, are guys that we signed defensively that want to play on the team with Jalen Hurts, or want to be a part of this, this culture, this organization. Obviously, coming off of a Super Bowl loss, or just being in the game, and not too many changes are going around this team besides, a couple moves defensively. We're in a really good spot right now. Contracts are great. Cap space is great. Eagles have, $13.5 million, whatever it is, or 12. I don't know how much they have now, but it's above $10 million still, I think. And a lot to really look forward to. And it really starts with Jalen Hurts, because you have a quarterback right now that's been through so adversity in his career. Most quarterbacks that go through what Jalen Hurts went through between Alabama to Oklahoma, most of those quarterbacks will not last in the NFL, or even make it to this point to be a starter. Okay, you have a lot of quarterbacks that talk like Jalen Hurts, or talk somewhat in progression of what put up a really good game, but with the results of what you're seeing, half these quarterbacks just don't have it. I've never seen a guy so focused, whether it's the biggest stage at the Super Bowl, a regular playoff game, whatever the case may be. I'm so proud to have a quarterback that's professional, that's not on social media. And obviously he doesn't run his Twitter account, okay, which he's already said. So if you see that account tweet anything, he doesn't do that, okay? He's not on social media all the time. He's really focused on his craft, and he really focuses on the negatives being and turning into positives, okay? He's focused on what people say wrong about him, and he's focused on that so much that it just turns into a benefactor of his play, which I think is one of the most important things, one of the most, obviously, very interesting things. Okay. A quarterback in a long time I haven't wanted to watch trust me, every time Jalen Hurts is having a press conference, I'm always listening. Because I know he's being real. I know he's being true. I know after a game, if we do lose a game, I know he's going to be humble about it. He's not going to say the same shit every single week just because. And I like it. I like that this guy is being talked about, an MVP finalist last year. And as an unbeliever as I was going into the 21 season, because, I wasn't on the train of not liking Jalen Hurts when we drafted him. It wasn't the player, it was the pick. I thought Jalen Hurts was like a 4th-round pick in that draft. And the problem is that we were already paying a franchise quarterback, which people clip Eagles fans saying they didn't like Jalen Hurts or something like that, which is not true. It's not that we didn't like Jalen Hurts. It was just the time and place was just what it was. You're paying a franchise quarterback, and you draft a 2nd-round quarterback that your 2nd-round picks have to be on the field. Your 1st-round picks got to be on the field. Your 3rd, 4th-round picks are role players. 5, 6, 7s, is Russian roulette at this point. 5th or 6th-round picks could be the guys that you draft that are real hungry, the guys that are gems. So you never know what you're going to get in the draft. But Jalen Hurts is the big difference maker here. There's a lot of rosters out there that have really good players around, offensive line, wide receivers. But when it comes to that quarterback spot, that's where it starts to take a turn. You start to exploit that problem a little bit, and teams start to get worried. Owners start to get worried with their own teams, because there's some teams out there that never can find quarterbacks. Washington Commanders is probably one team that doesn't have a quarterback right now. I think they have a fantastic roster offensively. What's holding them back is a quarterback to be actually good. And that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of teams. Okay? The Philadelphia Eagles and what they've done the past 3 off seasons involving just in general trades, but these drafts have been A+. These drafts have been fantastic. Okay? And the more you draft, the less money you have to spend in free agency. The more you draft, the more money you can spend in free agency. Okay? And if you're good with numbers, and obviously this is a copycat league sometimes, but most of the teams that try to follow other teams' success, they never do it. Nobody can follow Howie Roseman. And if following Howie Roseman is like the Rams giving away multiple first, second, third, fourth round picks to just win one Super Bowl, and then fall off the next year, not being able to retain your roster, not being able to retain draft capital that you gave away because of selling your soul to win a Super Bowl. Okay? This is the golden era. This is the golden age. I'm excited about our defensive line. I'm excited because you know what? Going into the 24 season next year, Brandon Graham could be gone. Reddick's here for one more year after next year. Okay? You're losing Fletcher Cox. And obviously, like I said, it's still early. They could sign guys to one-year deals. But I'm saying theoretically, like, there's pressure on Howie Roseman too because he drafted two defensive tackles in the first round. Drafted two defensive tackles in the first round. You end up getting Nolan Smith. Nakobe Dean drops to the third round for God knows why. Okay? There's a lot of talent here. Sidney Brown. Just amazing. Reed Blankenship gets thrown into a random game because Chauncey gets hurt, and look what he does as a sample size last year, and now he's a pick machine now. I'm not going to say that Reed Blankenship has the best coverage, but the guy is like a contact safety. The guy tackles like A+. He's not as fast as Sidney Brown. He's not going to cover the field as fast as Sidney Brown is going to cover it, but Reed is still a very good athletic player. You know what I mean? So when it comes to this defense, Sean Desai has so many different things he could do. It would be nice to keep him here for a few years. Usually when you win a Super Bowl or you get to, late into the playoffs or something like that, there's always teams trying to pry players and coaches from your roster. I think that's what's kind of nuts. I'm very proud of this team. I'm very proud of how everything has really turned around because this could be a team that could be in the Super Bowl every single year. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not just trying to hype them up. Like, this team is legit. And trust me, I don't sugarcoat nothing. If I hate something, and trust me, when I hate something, I say it. Special teams, Michael Clay. I complain about it every single day. There's really if all we're worried about right now is a backup quarterback in Marcus Mariota and literally special teams, we could be a lot worse right now. A lot worse. But this is how we are as people, as Eagle fans, that are going to criticize every little thing. And trust me, I've done it a million times. I've over-criticized a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't have criticized about. But realistically, when you just have a punter problem, a return specialist problem, and a backup quarterback problem, you're looking pretty damn good. You're looking pretty good right now. The youth is ridiculous on this team. Ridiculous. I mean, it's sad to say, really, your oldest receiver in the receiver room right now is literally Greg Ward. That's how crazy it is. Okay? Your defense is getting younger by the day. You're making good trades in the off seasons for more draft picks or carrying another first-round pick for another year where you can always have 2 first or 2 second-round picks. You're keeping, you're signing and locking up players, and you're garnering more draft picks every year, which in 24, the Eagles will have 11 to 12 draft picks, okay? I'm making this video because we are really lucky right now. If we over-criticize, that's just what we do, but at the end of the day, we have a stacked team right now. Your biggest loss in free agency this past year, it wasn't Miles Sanders. It wasn't Isaac Samalo, okay? It was Javon Hargrave. And since what I've seen from Jalen Carter so far, I mean, is disrupting plays. Guards can't even handle him. And offensive lines are going to have to pick their poison on who they're double teaming. He is going to be an immediate impact. Nolan Smith just needs to learn more tools. It just needs more tools for the toolbox, really. He needs to find more ways, and learn more moves, more technique and stuff like that, because I think his bend is like one of the best. He's got way too much athleticism. He's got way too much skill level to just be a pure edge rusher. So I totally agree what Sean Desai has been doing when you're playing these defensive ends as, off the ball linebackers, or you're turning them into those guys. Okay. I think we're perfectly fine there. because I feel like with Sean Desai, his number one thing this offseason, really for training camp, the number one thing with Sean Desai has been competition. And I really do like that because we have had Jim Schwartz pick favorites, okay? Derek Barnett, Nate Gary, just favorites that he's never. How many times did we say to get these guys off the field and he doesn't do it? With Sean Desai, he's giving everybody a fair opportunity. Every player, doesn't matter if you have a high resume in the NFL or not, or where you came from and how many yards you have, and doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. That's what I like about Sean Desai the most, and I feel like what I've seen in preseason so far is I've seen a defense that is very creative, disguising coverages, okay, multiple different fronts. Obviously, I know that, they're not showing everything because it is preseason. You're not scheming against the other team. We're going into the last week of preseason right now where starters are not going to play. Guys are going to rest up that are hurt right now and get ready for the first game of the season against the Patriots at 4:30, 4:25, whatever the game is that time. Okay. So when it comes to this defense, like I said, I think you're easily going to replace Hargrave. I think you even have a better player than Hargrave with Jalen Carter because Hargrave is not good against the run. He's a pass rusher. I think you got something really good in Carter. Carter might be the best prospect of this past draft. Depending on what Will Anderson does, depending on what he does, I think Jalen Carter is the best player that came out of this draft, and we're so lucky. I mean, look, you're not even really hearing about it too much. Like, look what you're doing right now. I mean, you drafted Devontae Smith, you drafted Landon Dickerson, you had 3 starters from that draft. You drafted Nolan Smith, starter, that's on the field. You're drafting Jalen Carter, starter, on the field. Okay, yeah, Nolan Smith will be in the second rotation most likely, but with Graham and Reddick as the first, Sweat and Nolan Smith as the second rotation, but still, he's on the field. You're hitting on guys like Mario Goodrich could have a roster spot, another guy that plays nickel that's been playing very well at both both of these preseason games so far, not giving up that many yardage whatsoever. Zach McPherson was playing really good. They're developing guys very well. The Eagles scouts are fantastic. Sidney Brown's a 3rd-round pick. Tyler Steen could be a future starter, and he's a rotational guy right now. But if Juergens got hurt, God forbid, Tyler Steen could play right guard immediately. Tyler Steen, you don't cross-train left tackles to right guards. It just never happens. Usually if you have a left tackle you draft, whether it's an early pick, a late pick, whatever the case may be, half the time they know the other tackle spot, or you cross-train them to the other tackle spot. You don't cross-train them to guard. They're just doing different things right now, and they're getting great. Like, you hear good things out of practice, and you want to believe a lot of different things out of practice. You want to believe, like, this player's doing really well. You know what I mean? Like, Christian Ellis was like the talk of town between OTAs and training camp, and then all of a sudden, Zach Cunningham and Miles Jack show up. Obviously, Miles Jack retired, but Zach Cunningham looks like the favorite right now to be besides Jacoby Dean. And Zach Cunningham's a really good player, okay? You never know what you can get in free agency. You never know what you can get via trade, and you never know what Howie Roseman by the cuts. The deadline, August 29th, when the Eagles have to cut this roster from 90 to 53, okay? We are in a golden age of Eagles football and excitement, and a team that's going to be good for years and years and years and years. Okay? There's no doubt. I don't have to worry about contracts. I don't have to worry about cap space, money being moved around, because I know we're going to be fine at the end of the day. We haven't been under the cap. We were under the cap, the first year we started drafting really well when we drafted Devontae Smith. Like, we finally are under the cap the past couple seasons now, where we're not owing money, where we have to restructure every single year. You're drafting players from the SEC. I think once Nick Sirianni got hired, I think Jeffrey Lurie backed up a little bit. I think Howie Roseman's always been a good GM. I think he's been bumping heads with Andy Weidel in the past. He's been bumping heads with everybody. Not saying that Howie doesn't make any bad draft picks, but who knows when it comes to analytics when you draft a player, or when it comes to, obviously, the true nature of who you're drafting position right now. Okay? Not position. You're not drafting position of need. We changed that whole thing. Position of need. Not happening. We're drafting mostly, and when you go to the second, third, fourth rounds, you can go need if you want at some aspects, depending on who's there. But you're picking best player available, and I think you've done that so far. Okay, it's absolutely. I mean, look at this. You have Jalen Carter, you have Nolan Smith, you have 4 guys from this draft, and Taron McGee's playing good, so that's 5 really. At the end of the day, you got like 5 players that are producing very well right now. And 4 of them could start out of one draft. I kind of sit and I say, if you can at least get 2 players that are going to, obviously having 2 first-round picks definitely helped like crazy. I thought one of those picks was going to trade back, but having 2 star, I mean, it's just insane, guys. It's just insane. We freak out every single week. Every move that happens. Sorry, tired. Every move that happens, what we could do, it's just it's something we just have to look forward to, man. You know, I feel like there's a couple championships, there's a couple Super Bowls under Jalen Hurts' belt coming, and it's gonna come. Pause. But you know what I mean? I've never felt so positive about a roster. Last year I felt very positive about it. Beyond. I said 13 games or more. This year I say 13 or 14 games or more, maybe. So we'll see. That's how good this team is. Yes, it's a harder schedule this year. That's just what happens. But, you know, we have to stop worrying about, oh, look at these teams. This team's going to be really tough that week. This team's going to be really tough that week. We have to stop thinking that way. We got to start thinking teams have to watch out for us. That's what teams have to watch out for. Okay. And like I said, this is a long video as it is, but I just kind of want to give my opinion on just what's been going on with this franchise the past few years. And I'm so excited for these draft picks. I'm so excited for the guys that produced last year that never really got a big shot. Kobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, a full-time starter. You're set at safety. You're set at, hopefully nickel in the next couple weeks. Or at least next week, a week and a half, something like that. There's a lot going on, a lot of good things happening. So let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about this team the last few years? How do you feel about just the way they've been drafting, trading, signing, moving money around, not costing a damn thing against the cap? Like we're just sitting in the shade, having a drink. That's all we've been doing. We just need better coaching on defense. That's it. I think Brian Johnson's going to open this playbook tremendously, get the running backs in the passing game, get all these receivers the ball, get all of them the ball, no doubt. And I'm not kidding. A lot of good talent on this team. It's over. It's such a young. I mean, really, after that Super Bowl, probably by that Super Bowl, I think we were the oldest. We were the second oldest roster in the league by that Super Bowl. Second oldest. Now we're probably on the opposite end of that now. This team is definitely this team has got to be in the top 3 for young talent. No joke. A successful team with young talent, it's off the charts. So that's all I got to really say. I don't want to make too much of a big deal of it. Let me know what you guys think just about what the Eagles have done so far this year, the draft, and do you feel different about this team the past few years, past couple years? I think it'd be really cool to talk about. So you guys have a fantastic day. Make sure if you last this long as well. If you last this long, congratulations, because we're ready to go for the season to start, regular season. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. Appreciate everybody that has been supporting all the videos. I put a post out to thank everybody for subscribing and being big supporters of the channel as well. Without you guys, this is nothing at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So, guys, have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.